Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm Delia DeRiggi-Whiton. I'm the Minority Leader. Today, we're here to discuss an item that's on the rules calendar today for a contract that I consider exorbitant and unnecessary. This is one of the subjects that I am approached with probably more than any other one. It's the fees and how they are hurting our constituents, and I'm very glad that our caucus is now submitting new legislation to address these issues, and I hope that we can convince the majority not to enter into another expensive contract. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce Legislator Seth Kozlow.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Seth Kozlow from Legislative District 5. Today, we're being asked to consider spending almost $2.5 million more on outside legal spending for attorneys that don't work for the county, on top of the $10 million budget we have for our Nassau County attorneys. But the most important part of this is the fact that we're spending this money to revive cases that have already been decided by a court regarding fees that the county charges, and the court has determined that those fees are illegal. Instead of giving that money back to the people who were illegally charged with this funding and these fees, Bruce Blakeman decided it's better to use taxpayer dollars to pay outside law firms almost $3 million to fight these cases and try to revive them. This is not leadership, it's a legal scam. This money is going to donors, it's going to firms that are making money off of our tax dollars. The decisions were already made. The cases are over. Bruce Blakeman is on a ghost hunt to try and find something that doesn't exist. He's chasing an outcome he will never find. And instead of giving that money back to people who are scraping by right now, struggling with inflation, struggling with paying their bills, we're being asked to authorize additional spending of almost $3 million. We need leadership that actually is worried about the bottom line for our constituents. This money could go back to people to make it easier for them to live, to pay their bills, to pay for groceries, to pay for school supplies. It's absurd that we have to deal with this. It's absurd that a court decided what's right and what's wrong, but Bruce Blakeman thinks he knows better. We're calling on this administration to stop wasting our taxpayer dollars on frivolous lawsuits, especially these lawsuits that have been decided already by a court. Now I'm going to call on my colleague, Legislator Deborah Muley.
Good morning. I'm Nassau County Legislator Deborah Muley, representing Legislative District Number 6. We should all be outraged at what is happening with our taxpayer money. This is, as Legislator Kozlow said, it's throwing good money after bad, and instead of paying it to the law firms, it should be paid directly to the taxpayers who were overcharged. The court said so; they were overcharged. So this $3 million is on top of the tens of millions of dollars that have already gone out on outside law firms. We have lawyers here in the county. We pay good people to represent the county. Why are we spending so much more money on outside counsel? There could be a case for a particular case or so, but not on a regular basis like this. And we should be offended and outraged. I know I am. And with that, I'd like to hand it over to my fellow legislator, Arnie Drucker.
Thank you. I'm Legislator Arnie Drucker, and just to echo my colleagues' sentiments, the minority caucus of the legislature is really, we are outraged. You know, we are disgusted. This is a brazen, shameless waste of taxpayer dollars that the administration has been perpetrating now for years. I have been every single session when we have contracts that are before us to approve the spending of hundreds of thousands of dollars each and every time to outside counsel firms who were all political donors of Blakeman and the Republican administration. And it's a waste of taxpayer dollar. It's cronyism and patronage at its core. And I constantly ask the representative from the county attorney's office, each time he's before us on the legislature, you don't have attorneys, you have 80, 90 attorneys at the county attorney's office, law school educated, admitted attorneys. They can't handle some of these cases. And the representative from the county attorneys who comes before us all the time says, well, the skill level of our attorneys is probably more aptly used in accident cases and negligence cases. Really? That's what we hire all these attorneys are at a law school, and even some who have been there for many, many years, this is all they can do? I can understand when there are cases dealing with federal constitutional issues, discrimination, but they're not. This is the two items that are on our calendar today for almost $3.2 million is to give to these politically connected law firms to defend the county fees that have already been determined by the lower court. They're appealing something that's a waste of taxpayer money. Give the money back to the taxpayers instead of spending it needlessly, hoping to overturn a lower court decision that was sound on all bases. And we're doing this again and again and again, and it's really a very, very disingenuous method by the administration that is not being transparent to the taxpayers, and it has to stop. Thank you.
Can you mention the legislation?
Yes. Let me be clear about one thing. When the courts decided that the red light camera fees were illegal, this county was at a crossroads. There were two ways to handle this. We as a caucus proposed legislation to create a fund to make sure people get paid back and reimbursed for those illegal fees. We wanted to plan ahead and put money aside to reimburse people for these illegal fees. The other option, which this administration is taking, is to dig in their heels, double down, and spend more money, more taxpayer dollars, fighting these illegal fees. Instead of giving people back their money, we're spending more of it. One of the things we've proposed today is legislation to change the fees that are illegal. Instead of spending money challenging them, we're going to take the court's guidance and propose modifying the fees that were deemed illegal so that no one else pays these fees and the county is no longer on the hook for those fees going forward. That's what good government is. Concern for the constituents, concern for the people, and not spending their tax dollars frivolously. Not spending their money on wild goose chases for legal decisions that we've already received. We have to do what's right for our constituents. We have to do what's right for our county. That's what good government is about.
I need to say one more thing. As of today, we are going to be filing new legislation, which includes fees that are deemed reasonable. Fees have to be based on something. They have to be justified by the amount of time we have to pay someone to process the fees, or whatever the county's expense is. It has to be reflected in what the fee amount is. We are in the process of filing legislation today that will basically match what is deemed reasonable. If the majority wants to join in with us and pass this piece of legislation, it will probably get rid of these lawsuits, which would mean that we could then save the $3 million, almost $3 million. Then, if they want to spend that $3 million, they can use it again to reimburse those people that were wrongfully charged, even after the date that the courts deemed many of these to be illegal. So it's common sense. This, again, is an issue that I'm approached with all the time, with people asking when they're going to get their money back and how upset they are by it. I mean, I know our legislative aides get calls on this all the time, and I know how important this is to people. So hopefully, if common sense government kicks in today, we can pass this, or at least calendar this piece of legislation and get working on reimbursing those that are entitled to it. Thank you.
Any questions?
Can you just go through the background again for me? Just a judge has ruled that the fees are illegal and that the people who got these fees should be reimbursed. And what is the total amount of money of the illegal fees?
So there are multiple court cases we're talking about. Some of the fees relate to red light cameras. Some of them relate to filing fees when you satisfy a mortgage or apply for a mortgage or satisfy a mortgage or anything like that. So these various cases all relate to different fees the county has been charging. The trial court determined that they were illegal and sent it back for a class certification to determine how many people are actually affected by these illegal fees. We anticipate the number is going to be very high on how many people have been affected by this and how much money the county owes. We don't have a number for that yet. Instead of planning for that, the administration is trying to challenge that decision and prepare for a class action suit to defend against a class action suit, even though we already know a court found the fees were illegal. And therefore, it's a losing proposition that we already know the outcome and what it's going to be. And that's why we're doing this today, to try and avoid unnecessary litigation, unnecessary spending of tax dollars for outside legal counsel.
$3 million of taxpayer dollars.
Correct.
Which would be a good start to reimburse.
So you anticipate that it would be more than $3 million?
For sure.
It's a good start to save this.
And on the record, he's before, I think the last time you guys brought this up, he said in the past I can't control what has been done in the past. I think that's his quote. So, you just used the term doubling down. So is that?
If a court tells us we have to reimburse people for the past, Bruce Blakeman can't say no to the past. We have to respond. And he may believe the past doesn't matter, but the reality is if we were charging people these fees illegally for as long as we were, and the court finds that people are due a refund, we're going to be on the hook for that, and we have to plan for that.
Yeah. This is basically going for the appeal. You know, we're paying for an appeal. And it's a question of if that's the right way to go. And as a caucus, we're saying at this point, no, stop. Stop spending as Legislator Drucker's the first one who's used it. Stop spending good money to try to save bad. And let's just address it in a mature, reasonable, financially responsible way.
One of the things that the administration has said when asked about private counsel spending before is that it's worthwhile because ultimately it saves money in the payouts. What is your response to that?
So I'll respond to that.
Yeah, that's you.
Historically, it has never paid off because we are oftentimes asked to approve settlements that are made by outside counsel firms, and we always ask, why didn't you take this case all the way to trial? We would have won. But instead, these outside counsel, these so-called specialists, would rather settle the cases and pay out taxpayer dollars on cases that they shouldn't have settled. And so I disagree. I don't think we benefit at all from outside counsels. In fact, I think we lose a lot of money, and we lose the public trust when we're constantly giving out contracts to outside lawyers when we have our own in-house lawyers who can handle these things. It's a bad practice.
I'm just going to say one more. There might be times when it is necessary to have a real specialist. This is an appeal to a decision that, again, I don't think is worth pursuing. We've already lost, so it's not like we even have a real chance of overturning it, number one. Number two, look at the law firm. It's an incredibly connected law firm, and if you look at the contributions, that will kind of clear up a lot of this story. So again, it's time to stop. It's time to say, we lost the case. These people are entitled to their funding back because it makes sense in the formula that we have to justify what's being charged to people. So it's not as if it's something that we can't understand with the decision. So at this point, let's stop and start refunding those that are owed the money.
I just want to say one other thing to that point. If in fact it was accurate that spending this money has saved us money, we would have seen spending like this under other administrations. But historically, the county spends about $5 million on average on outside legal fees. Under this administration, we're at over $20 million, getting closer to $30 million. That's 5 and 6 times the amount that any other administration ever spends. I find it hard to believe that Bruce Blakeman, of all people, is the one that thinks, that knows how to save money for this county, when all we've seen is fees go up and spending go up. And there's no correlation that it's saved us any money whatsoever.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks.